Welcome to the Shelly Studio. And so for June we are doing the artist trading card a day, and these are a few that I've done. The video should be up showing these. If not, it'll be soon. If it is up, I will tag it or put it in the description box below. But I thought since we were going to do an ATC a day, we should have something to keep them in, right? The ones I made last year have all been sitting in a Ziploc baggie, except for there was a few that apparently I've given away because they're not around, so I must have traded them, right? So I was thinking, I had seen a video on doing a lap book, and I will also link that in the description box below, but it gave me an idea. And I also have another thing that inspired it was this little book that I got that holds the inchies. And that video, I'm going to have a lot of videos linked below. I can link that one too. Isn't that so cute? Anyway, so I was like, well, I have a little bookie to hold my inchies. I need a bookie to hold my ATCs. So this is the prototype, and so it's not perfect, and it's just done with white cardstock. I'll show you what I created, and then I'll show you the steps with some pretty paper. So this is holding last year's ATCs, and the way I designed it is for it to kind of like be an ATC explosion. The one I will be showing you how to do, I think I want it to lay a little flatter. I mean, it's still going to be bulky. There are 30 ATCs in there, so it's still going to be bulky. But you want to see it? All right. Hopefully this is in focus because I can't tell. But it's white, so here we go. Wow! So, the lady that made the lap book, she has this way of making these things, like, see, I lost one. But this was my prototype, right? And I know there's a few issues because I had to pull things apart, re-glue them, but still, I mean, that was pretty good, right? Holds them all. You got these little flaps, you can stick them in. You can do something here. I think I'm going to use pattern paper to make it prettier. But yeah, you can stick all your ATCs. I did use some vellum here to make some pockets because I needed 6 more spots to hold 30. So they're just stuck in clear vellum pockets. Not the prettiest glue job, but yeah, maybe if there's pattern paper behind, you won't notice. But yeah, so this is what I'm going to make. Oh, damage. With a few tweaks, because obviously that side is not the right length. Anyway, I will do the other. I will just show you the basic steps and put it together, and then so the video is not too long. And I hope you continue watching. There we go. We'll move on to the project and a voiceover. I kind of didn't, well, you saw the one fly out. I didn't show you that they come out and go back in. There's like, it's called a tension pocket. So you can pull them out and then put them back in. And you can feel the little tension. You just push it in there and then they stay. Okay, now we'll get started. So we're going to find out right now how good I am at giving instructions. All right, so I have a 12 by 12 piece of scrapbook paper. This paper is just about cardstock weight. I feel like it's a little bit lighter, but it's not as thin as regular copy paper. And you know, some of that one-sided scrapbook paper, that would probably be too thin. Think of this as your cover, so you want it to be a little bit stiff, but you don't want it too stiff that it's like super bulky. This one is called K Sarah. It's by K & Company, and I've had it for years. is like my favorite. I think I show you a picture of the cover later on so that you can see what the scrapbook pad looked like. So the first thing I did, you don't see it, but the first thing I did was I cut it down to 8.5 by 12. Now I used the measurements from my custom keeper in the Traveler's Notebook size from Shannon Green's Etsy store, and it's a little bit bigger than a standard Traveler's Notebook insert would be. You could probably make it a little bit shorter to fit. There's still a little bit of give in there where the ATCs are concerned, so you'd probably be okay. So once you have it cut down, so you're going to score it in half at 6 inches. Now, I don't have one of those scoreboards, so I'm doing this using the little rubber part on my cutting board, and it works pretty good for me. So I scored in half first, that's the 6-inch mark, and then I go in and do 4 5/8 inches on both sides. So that works for me, but if you use a scoreboard, that would be, I think, 1 3/8, then the 6-inch mark, and then 10 5/8 would be your next mark. Hopefully that's accurate. And again, that's just a tad longer than, or wider than your standard Traveler's Notebook insert. You could, once it's finished, I see that I have a little bit of wiggle room. Could have gone just a little bit narrower, I think. Okay, so we need to extend this so it folds over like a lap book. And so we're going to make another, we're going to take another 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and we're going to cut it at the 8.5 inch mark as well. And then once we do that, we're going to cut out 2 sheets, and they're both going to be 5.5 by 8.5. So there's the 8.5, and then we'll cut 2 sheets at 5.5. So now we have those 2 sheets that are going to attach to our outer edge, but of course they are longer, so we're going to have to create a fold, but we don't want it too bulky in the center of the fold either, so I think we're going to come in just a little bit, but I want to look at the ATC and see how much space, extra space we might have. Have to leave a little bit of space for that tension pocket that we're going to create. And so I believe I score them at 4 3/8. So that is where we're going to fold it. And I wasn't cutting right there, I was just moving the blade out of the way. Alright, so now it's going to go there, and we have plenty of clearance to fold our flap over. You can't see it, but I can see the crease right there. And then there's still space for the ATC to sit inside there too. Okay, and we'll do that with both sheets. Okay, now I've got both sheets of paper, and we're going to want to attach these. And here's where I'm going to reduce the bulk. I'm going to turn this into a tension pocket in the flap. So this is where I'm winging it, because this is not how I created the original. I tried to show you there. Sorry, can you see that? Maybe after I'm done voicing over, I'll freeze that spot or something so you can see it. It was just showing you how bulky that corner gets. So I'm thinking if I turn this into a tension pocket, I won't have the flap plus the tension pocket. It'll make sense. So I'm taking a scrap. It's a little bit short, but I think it's okay. I'm going to use that to create the tension pocket. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the score tape. That's the brand. I think I pull out package right here. There, see, that's what it is. And it's a 1/4 inch. You can see the measurement on the package there. I think I actually take a ruler because I'm like not noticing that the measurement is like sitting right there. Of course, it was a different package, but yeah. Okay. So 1/4 inch score tape. We're just going to use this scrap piece. And we're going to run tape along one side on, okay, one side on both sides. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so you want to, on this, I'm getting this stuff out of the way. So we're going to run score tape along the bottom edge. You don't want it to go over the edge, but you don't want it to be up too high. You want it to sit just right at the edge. So you might see my head because I get my face right down there so I can make sure I'm seeing it. It's worse when I do it on folded pieces of paper so that I can see that crease. Yeah, you didn't even see my head. Look at that. Okay, so see it's on the bottom. We're going to flip it around and we're going to put another piece on the bottom. So it's on both sides on the bottom. That makes more sense, right? Okay. Hopefully that makes more sense. Okay, so this is a little bit wide for the inside of the pocket, the little tension piece. So I am going to cut it down. That ruler's not going to do me any good. Okay, so I'm going to cut it down. I think I decide to cut it in half. Here's me measuring it. Okay. I'm going to cut it in half so I can use it on both sides. You probably could have, well, I think it's about right. It just gives you a little bit of an edge for that tension pocket. Okay, so we're going to take it and stick it on the right by the fold as close as you can get it without sticking out beyond it. So just like that. And I think I amazed myself that I got it that good. Because lining things up, and this tape is like super, super sticky. So lining it up is a little bit difficult. I think when I do one of the other tension pockets, I get it down to where I have a good way of doing it. And I will show you that. So here we're going to line this one up. And I'm just, if you just touch the one edge, like the one corner in the right spot, and then the other corner in the right spot. See, like that worked like amazingly. I was amazed that I even did that. But see, so here, instead of adding the extra bulk to have a tension pocket that flips, we now have this tension pocket that is part of the cover. See? It works, yay. Okay, so once we have that done, to effectively make it a pocket, we need to seal the sides, right? So instead of sticking glue down there and losing like 1/4 inch on each side, we're going to create a pocket tab. Now this is the same technique that I learned from the lady who did the lap book demonstration. Video in the description box below, in case, this one doesn't make sense and that one will make more sense. She taught me, right? Okay, so to create the pocket tab, I decided the best way to do it was to create the fold first, determine the width that I needed it using the score tape. I want to make it just a teeny bit bigger than the score tape, and then cutting the strip. So then I have it. The fold was easy to make, and it's just a little bit bigger than the score tape. and that will work perfectly. I don't know. I'm thinking I need that. I just, like I said, we'll see if I can give good instructions, right? Okay, so this next part, we are going to put the score tape on both on the top of the piece of paper, but do not go over the fold. If you go over the fold, you're going to end up with sticky spots on your little ATC Keeper. So you don't want to do that. So I'm lining it up with the edge and keeping the fold clear. Just a teeny space. But you see how the score tape's both on the same side and not on the other. So I'm just trimming that up. I don't have any measurements for this one, obviously. I'm just using some extra paper. So at this point, we need to determine how deep or how long that strip needs to be. And the best way to do this is just to stick it in there and butt it up against that tension spot or the corner if you can get that far. And I'm just grabbing a pen so I can mark that. There we go. And then we're just going to cut it. The first couple of times I cut it with my cutting board, but really this does not need to be perfection. Just snip it with the scissors. It doesn't need to be done on your little cutting board. Look at me. I'm measuring. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Oh yeah, I think I measured it so I could do both sides at the same time. There we go. So I've got my 2 pocket tabs. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to taper those so that things can slide in easily. Makes it easier to attach them. And it doesn't need to be too dramatic. I think as I go along, because we make a bunch of these, my little angles become steeper and steeper, but they don't really need to be that dramatic. Just a little bit of an angle. See, like that one got a little dramatic. Okay, so we're going to grab one and we're going to take the sticky off of, or the cover off of one side. And the best way to do this is for this particular piece, is do it on the short piece of paper, so that you know it's not going to stick out above. And sorry, my camera does not focus on multi-planes. It's not a video camera. It's an SLR, single lens reflex digital camera. And it doesn't autofocus, it focuses one level, that's it. So anything lifted above the table ends up fuzzy. But there we go. And see, I made it stick out on accident. Whoops. That's okay. We'll just fake it. So we will try putting that on the other side. And the lady that demoed this, she has a pokey tool. I don't know if I'd be able to get it off with a pokey tool or if I'd just poke myself. So we're going to do the same thing here. Hopefully you can see this, even though it's fuzzy. We're going to line it up so that I just want to get that corner to corner. And I'm going to try harder not to let it stick out. Like I said before, that score tape is really strong. So if you stick it down and want to take it off, it will probably tear your paper. Just fair warning. There we go. We're going to fold it down and stick it down. Now we have our little pocket. See, and I'll open that up, and you can barely see the little tension thing down in there. And it works with a little bit of wiggle. I'm going to put my little ATCs in there. So there we have our first little section. They're staying, that's a good sign. I think I'm trying to show you the little strip in there. You can see it's just a little teeny strip in there. And then I'm going to do the other side, but I'm not going to make you watch it. Alright, so we've got both sides together. So now they close like we want them to. And the next step is to create the tension pockets. So we are going to need 6. Let's see, 3 on each side because we've already got 1. So we're going to do 6, and we're going to cut 1 inch by 8.5 inch strips, 2 for each tension pocket. So that is going to be 12 strips. So we want 12 strips of 8.5 by 1 inch. That's the next step. And of course, I'm just using the scraps that were left over from creating the original outer cover. So just use up what you have. I do end up cutting a 3rd sheet to get a couple more strips out. But use what you have, and I'll be back once I get those all cut. Alright, so I've got all the strips made. So there's, did I say that right? I'm going to have to listen to what I said. We need 12 strips of 1 inch by 8.5. So there's 2 strips for each tension pocket. And yeah. So that was just, I was just trying to decide what colors I wanted on the outside. So the next piece is that little tension strip, but this time we are also going to create a little hinge to attach it to the inside of our booklet. Okay, and for this part we are going to need, again, 8.5 inches long, and we're going to make our first measurement at 5/8 of an inch, and we're going to score it, I believe. Watch me score it. And then fold it, and then we're going to cut it. This way, hopefully, I will have it all straight. So that's one way to make sure my crease is right in the middle. The exact measurements are not necessary. So 5/8 of an inch, fold it in half, trim off the other 5/8. If you're using the scoreboard, you can cut it and score it and trim it. But yeah, I'm just trying to make them even on both sides. They don't really have to be, like I said, that's just the way I'm doing it. Not necessary to be completely perfect. And again, we're going to make 6 of those. Okay, so now that we've got these pieces made, we are going to attach them to the rest of the little pocket. So to do this, we're going to put score tape on it, and remember, just next to the fold, don't go over the fold, or you will have sticky where you don't want sticky. Okay, so now it's on that side. See how I'm flipping it over, and we're going to put score tape on the exact same side as the previous. Well, okay. I just don't know the wording for this. We're going to flip it over and put it on so it's right on top. There we go. I'm a visual learner. How y'all doing with my instructions? If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them. I will answer everything I can. And yeah. So, okay, now we are going to make our little tension pockets. So I'm going to take off the backing, and after this first one I sort of get it figured out. So this one was the hardest, but I do still get it lined up. But this other side, I think I do this other side better. So if you take it and then you start at one end, like see, like this, Start at one end, get that corner good, then keep it separated from the tape, take it to the other corner, and then you're good. See, and I'm showing you it is a little pocket, and if you can get the card in there, it sticks. See? Okay. So now we want to do, I will finish the rest of those, so you don't have to sit here and watch me do all those. And we'll come back and we'll make the rest of the pocket. And through the magic of video editing, there we are. So I've got them all attached, and now we want to create the pocket tabs to go on the sides to make them a complete pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another strip of paper. This one, it doesn't really matter how long that you do it, but I'm going to score it, fold it, and then cut it to size, similar to how I did it when we were doing the first pocket tab I showed you. So here we're going to score it, fold it, and then I'm going to line it up how I had it before, so you want to make sure it's going to fit good. You don't want it too big, but you don't want it too small that your tape goes over the edges. And this was the full 12-inch length of that scrapbook paper, and that was plenty. That was more than enough. So did I mention in the beginning of this that it takes a lot of the score tape stuff to make this project? Alright, so again, this is our pocket tab. We're creating a supply of them. So we're just going to run this along the edge, close as you can to the edge. Don't go over the fold. And I probably said that plenty of times. And you can see I'm getting my head right down there because I don't have good eyes and I got to see that fold. Alright. And we're going to put it on the same side of the piece of paper on the opposite side of the fold. It's a good thing this is visual because I don't think the words would convey how to do that. And you could probably make it a little bit bigger than I did. There is barely any space. In fact, I think one spot there's a little bit of stickiness. So if you do end up with that, you can put, once you're completely done, you can put like talcum powder or baby powder on there and get rid of the sticky if you want. You just have a little bit of, anyway. Alright. So on each of these, we are going to do the same thing we did in the beginning. And what I end up doing on some of these, if I feel like that tension piece in the middle is sticking out too far, I will trim that on just on the edge so that I can get my little pocket tab in there all the way so it's not sticking out too far. Make sure your fold is on the right side. Taper from the fold in. So you've got your little tab. See how skinny that small that one is? And we're going to attach it. So if you forgot what we were doing before, here we go. This is an awkward one to show too. So, okay. Line it up so it's not sticking out too far. And then stick the two pieces together. And there we go. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I think I even quit using the pen at some point. I just like hold my fingernail there and call it good. Okay. So remember again, taper, taper. Peel that off. And if you've got this part, then you don't have to watch me do this multiple times. I will, after I do this one piece, I will jump to the next step in the process. Come on. I need a pokey tool. There we go. Alright, so there's our tension pocket. And we'll be able to stick our ATCs in there, and I'll make the rest of those. Okay, so now we have to attach them into our book. Just want to make sure that works. See, and this is how it's going to sit. Yeah, I think I like the way that works. So we are going to attach all these. Okay, so to attach all these, I am using a combination this time. I'm going to use score tape, and then I'm going to use a little bit of Fabri-Tac, just to make sure it's good and secure. So just trimming that off. Peel the backing. Find my glue. And I'm not putting a ton, I'm just putting just a little bit. I don't want it to squish out all over. So I'm just putting a little bit around just to make it a little extra secure. And then I'm going to line it up in that corner. Just trying to make sure it's not sticking out on one end or the other. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is we're going to actually put 2 in this section. So we're going to have one go that way and then one go the other way. So you'll see. See, like that. So there'll be 2 right there, so they'll turn like pages. Okay. So this part, basically repeats. You're going to put the score tape on, add the glue, and then we're going to fit it in the corner of the fold. That makes sense, right? And again, just a little, don't want it squishing out everywhere. So I'm just folding it, making sure it's lined up correctly. Got a little glue on the outside edge there, making sure that bends where it's supposed to bend. Now this next piece is going to go right next to it, but we don't want to glue the 2 flaps together. I think I did that in the prototype and it caused a little weird buckling, so I actually ripped it out and did it over again. So just keeping those flaps separate when it comes to doing that corner helps helps your little ATC Keeper fold a little easier. Okay. So now we're going to just line it up to the other one. I wanted to make sure there was no glue so those didn't actually glue together. So I ran my finger along there and they come apart. Make sure there's no glue. And that Fabri-Tac works because like if you get any on there you can just rub it. It rubs like rubber cement and comes off. So that is one side done, and presto changeo, both sides are done. Look at that. We have, oh, are we at the end? Finally, right? Oh, but I lied. We have one more step. We want to make our 6 pockets in the center so that we have a full 30 pockets to keep our ATCs in. So I'm just using transparent vellum paper. This was from Office Depot. and we're just going to cut it down. So these I make at 2.5 by 4.25. So they're 4.25 wide and then 2.5 inches high. On my prototype, which I don't have right here at the moment, I didn't do them 2.5 inches high. I did them maybe 2. The 2.5 inches with a glue just around the edge covers the ATC almost completely. It's translucent so you can see through it, but I think I like the shorter so you see more of the actual card better. But that's up to you. Also, you know, these are just being glued flat on there around the edges. You want to give it as much space as possible so that you can get the cards in and out. Won't work for cards with lots of dimension, but it'll work for flat ones. So we're just cutting 6 of those, and then I'm going to put, just going to take my round circle punch and punch a little tab on the top of each of those so that we can get our fingers on those cards to pull them in and out. Okay, now we're going to glue them inside our ATC Keeper. Hopefully Shannon Green doesn't hold the copyright on Keeper. Just kidding. Alright. So, and I'm just doing a fine line as best I can along the edge. It does squish out a little bit, but I really don't think you can tell too much with the patterned paper in the background. That's part of the reason I did it. So I'm going to line it to the right-hand side at the far bottom. So I'm leaving a little bit of a gap in the centerfold area. And when I push that down, I'm pushing away from the center. I don't want any glue to creep into the middle and take away space in my pocket. There is one that kind of got away from me that direction, and I went ahead and put a plain card in there and forced it open and then let it dry open so it couldn't, so it didn't glue shut all the way. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so see, this is me checking to see how high I should put the next one. And that's all the measuring I did. I should say all the measuring I did for this part because there's been plenty of measuring in this project. Okay, you'll see on this last one, this is where I mess it up. See how you can see the clear space, you can see, and I'm trying to wipe it off a little bit. But it's kind of high. So, I stick a card in there, but I do go back after videotaping and put a plain white card in there to kind of hold that space. But see, those will fit just barely at the top. And now, well, once the glue is dried, it will be done. So, here we have it. My little keeper. I'm thinking creasing it's going to help it lay a little flatter. It does lay flatter than my prototype, but it's not full. I think I fill it for this demo, but right now it's not full. It's just got the new stuff in it. So I'm emptying that one, and we're going to put them all in here and make sure we did this right? See, I mean, it's fine. The pockets are fine that way. I just think I would like them a little shorter, just to make it a little easier. See, that one sticks just a little bit because that glue spot. when you're putting them in, you kind of have to feel for that little resistance. It's there. I know it's there. Sometimes just wiggling them around a little bit helps them to stick. So we're just loading them all in there. It's kind of fun. I haven't looked at these particular ATCs since last year, or some point last year. So there we go, nice and colorful. And then they'll just close right up. And there we have it, our little ATC Keeper. And, oh yes, I'm going to take out this just so you can see how it will fit in this size of Shannon Green's custom keepers. Yay! I hope you like that. Give it a try. If you have any questions, let me know. Don't forget, there are ideas, videos in the description box below. If you like this, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share with your friends. And I hope it wasn't too long. This is like my longest video, I think, that I've uploaded. Anyways, have a great day.